Nowadays, the idea of becoming wealthy is tied to entrepreneurship. In order to make a lot of green papers, you should start something on your own. Be your own boss. Kick off that brilliant idea that would eventually make you a seven-figure earner. It's true that being your own boss will give you a more control over your career or earnings. You won't be tied to a specific job that would force you to live under certain circumstances. And it's also true that world's wealthiest people today became who they are by starting their own independent ventures. That's definitely one way to attain wealth. But if you look at the facts, we live in the best of times, where you can achieve an enormous amount of wealth by being just an employee with a regular job. Of course, this path isn't easy and filled with obstacles and challenges as well. However, despite the odds, millions of people have taken this path and made it. So, theoretically, you can too, assuming that you're going to put the required amount of effort and time into it. With the rise of globalization, the world has never been so competitive. Companies from every angle of the world are waging financial wars against each other to gain market share and maximize profits. Still, to do that, they need the best of minds. That's why if you are just an employee, theoretically, you have all the chances to earn seven figures. Especially when it comes to tech companies, technology has never been growing as fast as it has been recently. 10 years ago, you probably had a phone with buttons. Now it's all screen and you can't live without it because it became a crucial part of your daily life. Almost everything you search, watch, and do is one way or another related to it. And that's what makes it risky as well. You're always vulnerable to hackers, which worries the tech giants who are providing these services. No one wants to gamble with its reputation, so the amount of money that's spent on cybersecurity is significant. According to IBM, a single data breach can cost a company up to $3.3 million. And that's a 12% increase since 2014, which means that companies such as Facebook, Apple, Netflix, or banks in general would spend more and more on cybersecurity, which means that jobs in this field would start paying enormously. Cybersecurity engineers, for example, earn around $200,000. But they aren't alone. Information security managers, cybersecurity analysts all make something approximately around $200,000 or slightly lower on average. The best part of it is that you don't need a degree or any kind of formal education, although that it could really help. What matters is only your knowledge and experience in understanding technology and these systems. A tech conglomerate like Apple pays up to $1.5 million to those who can hack an iPhone or Mac. You can make over $1 million just by hacking your friend's iPhone. And Apple isn't the only company that's ready to compensate you if you hack them. Facebook, Amazon, and other tech giants have a similar policy. So in this age of technological revolution, hackers are very well rewarded. Traditional jobs. It's not a surprise that doctors are paid enormously. Regardless of where you are in the world, doctors are always paid well enough. And in the United States, they're almost always millionaires. Take an example of anesthesiologists. According to National Occupational Employment and Wage estimates at the end of March of 2019, anesthesiologists on average earn around $267,000, which puts them on the top of the list of highest earning professions in the US or even the world. That's the average. Imagine how much the top professionals are making. But they aren't alone in that category. Surgeons, physicians, gynecologists all earn more than $200,000 a year. It's not easy to become a doctor. Medical school is challenging and often requires full dedication. And even when you graduate, you still have years to practice before you become a fully capable doctor. Regardless of its complexity, there is a clear path to becoming one. You don't have to invent anything or be super creative. The path is made clear before you. All you have to do is to follow it strictly. In comparison, as an entrepreneur, there isn't a clear path. everything looks blur. You have to figure everything on the way. And even if you come up with a perfect plan, there are still plenty of things that could easily ruin everything. Even if you work as hard as a medical student, chances that you will fail are way higher than a medical student. So from the perspective of risk, taking this path is much more secure and safe. And the same applies to lawyers and engineers. Of course, as a beginner, you will be filled with lots of paperwork and a salary that would hardly pay the bills. But as you grow in ranks, that paycheck keeps getting bigger. An average lawyer earns around $10,000 per month or $120,000 a year. But that number can quickly explode if you take advantage of the opportunities in the market. Companies might claim that they're all working for the common good, but in reality, behind closed doors, there are battles in the courts over patents, trademarks, and a lot of other things where most talented and hard-working lawyers are paid millions to win cases before the judge. $1 million is nothing because the company can end up paying hundreds of millions, if not billions, if it loses a case. But doctors aren't the only ones who are paid enormously. The next profession can make you a millionaire even faster. Even if you don't have a college degree or any experience, in the world of capitalism, this profession is the mother of all other occupations: sales. Of course, it will highly depend on what exactly you will be selling. Working at your local grocery store might not earn you a lot, but selling luxury cars, for example, might very well give you an opportunity to make a considerable bag. If you have watched The Wolf of Wall Street, you know what I'm talking about. Jordan Belfort, who was the main character, built an entire company selling penny stocks. Stocks of companies that often don't even exist. You can even call them trash stocks. Just a disclaimer, I'm not saying you should be scamming people and selling crap. That's not the point. But often as a salesman, you are offered a commission on the top of your salary, so you can earn as much as you want. You don't even need any kind of qualification. It all depends on your ability to sell. Some people are naturally good at dealing with people. They quickly build trust with strangers, which makes the entire process of selling a lot easier. Of course, most people aren't born with such talents, but if you still insist on taking this path, there are lots of great books that can teach you every skill you need. Humans are predictable. Once you understand human psychology, it gets much more comfortable to convince them to buy something, even if that's something they don't really need. Take a look at all the things you have. How many of those things you really need? Not many. Your closet is filled with clothes you never wear. And sales commissions could go as high as 50%. So even if you can't afford a college degree, you have all the chances by taking this path. With the rise of the internet, the advertising industry became ever more sophisticated. The entire internet grew by relying on ads. This powerful platform depends on ads to survive and thrive. Because everyone heavily relies on the internet for basic day-to-day needs, companies spend billions to track our habits to be able to create more accurate ads. In 2019, more than $100 billion were spent on social media ads, and this number will only increase year after year. A lot of companies getting into social media but don't really understand how to use it wisely. That's why lots of companies emerged out of nowhere just to help these companies to spend their money wisely on social media. And the greatest part about it is that you don't need any degree or whatsoever. It's something you can learn on your own and build your way up from there. Real estate is probably the best traditional investment in the world. This industry will always be relevant. At the end of the day, people will need a roof over their heads, regardless of whether the economy is growing or not. This industry is worth trillions of dollars, and as the world population keeps growing, more and more people are moving to cities. The trend for this industry seems only to be upwards, and if you're an extrovert who knows how to convince people, you can make a fortune. Real estate agents mostly make money from commissions. There is no limit to how much you can earn. The more you can sell, the more goes into your pocket. 6% might not seem much, but when you sell a house for $300,000, 6% does make sense. Of course, you aren't going to take all that money home because you have to split it with your broker and buyer's broker, but you will still end up with a few $1,000s. It might be super difficult to get your first deal. However, once you build up your reputation and create lots of connection, you no longer have to hustle day and night. Opportunities will just be coming to you. These professions pay a lot of money, but keep in mind that as you keep earning more and more, your tax percentage keeps increasing. At the end of the day, 86% of government's budget comes from individual income and payroll taxes. For instance, every penny you earn above $40,000 is taxed at 22%, while your first $9,875 aren't taxed at all. As your income grows, the portion you have to share with Uncle Sam grows as well, and at some point it stops making sense when almost half of your income gets taxed. Your incentive to earn more drops as well. Currently, the tax rate peaks at 37% on everything you make above $518,801. That's why the wealthiest people on earth take a different path to wealth, where tax rates are much lower, but risks are higher. So you gotta make your own choice. Thanks for watching, and until next time.